For life.
Didn't see your mother today. She was resting.
You did press record here?
No, we don't press record there.
Just on Zoom.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And Namaste and welcome to yet one more Thanksgiving retreat. I remember last time I was sitting on that corner. Remember we had that? Was that last year? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now we have switched over to this side. A change of perspective is always good. So that's nice. And Namaste and welcome to Swamini Svatmavidyananda, who is joining us from Hawaii. Very happy to have you. And happy to have all the people who are here. And we'll start with Shin Shin. She will start the orientation, and then after that I will introduce the text a bit. Come.
Shall I sit here?
Yeah, sit right there.
Wait, and then make this one come to you. See, so easy. Yes, please talk.
All right. So Namah Shivaya, thank you everyone for being here. It's my great honor to welcome you all to this Thanksgiving retreat. And Swamini Ji said yet another, but I think each retreat is different and special, and this one being especially unique in that we have an honored guest. And so we get two Swaminis for our retreat at this time, which is a great blessing. So Swamini Ji asked me to speak a little bit on why we are having yet another Thanksgiving retreat, and I'll try to make it short and sweet, and also talk a little bit about retreat decorum, which I don't think I need to, people here are quite familiar with that, so I think I might skip that part, if that's okay. Yeah?
It's up to you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep it short. Okay.
You don't have to keep it short. You can take as much time as you want.
I'd be more comfortable keeping it short. It's for myself. And really it's been a great seva. And so many people have helped organize the retreat. I don't think I just organized it. But in doing so, it's I think with a lot of sevas, I start with the feeling that I am doing this for others and doing it for the teacher, but really I end up reaping the greatest benefit. And I've reaped quite a bit of benefit this time in getting to know each of you better through correspondence, and that alone has been a great gift. It's been a really wonderful way to channel a lot of the sadness I felt after Puja Swamiji attained Mahasamadhi. So it's been a very positive, I think, thing for me to do in my life. over the last couple months. And also, simply, many of my happiest memories have been from our previous retreats. So selfishly, this is a way to get back to that place again, which I feel like sometimes I lose during the year. So this is really an opportunity, hopefully, for all of us to take a break from our daily lives, from our work, and from responsibilities to some degree. Some of us have families, like I do, that we still need to tend to, but as much as possible to immerse ourselves for the next few days in this teaching that we have the great fortune to receive. And in that sense, it's very different than going to class once a week, which we're fortunate to have in Eugene, but I think the retreat is a really different type of learning in that you get to really kind of get cooked, I think, by Vedanta and really stew in it and just let it transform you over a period of days and let it kind of heat up. Let's see. So Swamiji asked me to speak a little bit about what to expect during the retreat for those of you who haven't been on one before with us. So you can expect a lot of wonderful things we've given our teacher. And beyond that, let's see, I'll just talk a little bit about how to perhaps make the most of being on this retreat in our, given that this is a place where we're coming and going, and for those of you who are online, you're not physically here, but hopefully we will help each other keep that context of being here as if we were all living in the ashram together. So most of us are leaving tonight to go somewhere else, and we'll be going back and forth during the day. So it helps a lot if you do as much as possible to let go of responsibilities that are not needed right away. And I think maybe this is one of the only times or a few times where it's good to procrastinate. So whatever you haven't done up until now, maybe put off till Sunday if you can, so that you keep your mind on the teachings and on being here, letting go of email and online shopping and things like that I'm prone to do too. Silence, oh, thank you. And Gary gave me a good reminder, which I need to silence your phones, silence your cell phones, so that they don't buzz or ring in the middle of class, because that's distracting. Thank you. Oh, and a very important announcement about parking, which I emailed, but if you are driving here, if you're watching online and coming here today, or just coming here tomorrow, there are a couple of requests from our neighbors, so please don't park in the blue house, which is right next to the ashram. And please do not also park directly across the street. There's a house with a family, and they need some room for their cars along the street, so please don't park there. But there's plenty of parking, and we should be able to fit 2 cars in the front driveway and 2 cars in the rear. And if people park all the way up, pull all the way up in the back driveway, we could perhaps fit up to 4 cars there. Yeah, and front too? Okay. So if you're okay with doubling up, we can squeeze in and park 4 cars on each driveway. There's plenty of free parking along the Tyler Street.
Empty lot.
And there's an empty lot across the street that we can park next to as well. Yeah. So it's just the houses right in front and right next to the ashram that have requested that we leave them some space for their families. Let's see, and just to refresher, I know pretty much everyone who's present tonight knows this, but to refrain from eating or drinking during class or getting up in between, unless you have a need to do that medically. We have a lot of breaks worked in, and lots of snacks and tea, so hopefully that will be satisfying, aside from class. Let's see, anything else I've missed? If you can, please try to arrive a little bit early, like 10 minutes before class. You can find your chair, settle in, get your text. and I promise I will have those tomorrow. And so that you can be here and be present and allow your mind to come here too and relax so that you're not arriving in a rush. So it would be beneficial to you to do that. And when the Swaminis arrive, we usually stand and in respect and bow. And anything else? Is there anything else? A little bit about the schedule. So Swamiji passed out a schedule that's slightly different than what was published online. It's not very different. There's still classes every day, which we are very blessed to have. So breakfast will be after meditation, not before, for good reason. And then we'll have class at 9. Each class has been changed to an hour and 15 minutes to avoid any confusion. So an hour and 15 minutes for class in the morning. We'll have a short tea break, and then one more class ending at noon. We'll have lunch, and then a satsang with Swamini Svatmavidyananda. Am I saying that correctly? Okay. There's a nice long break in the afternoon, during which time you can take care of your own things.
Or sleep.
More sleep. Or sleep. That's a nice nap time.
Yes.
I don't know about that. Okay. I won't be getting sleep. Okay. But you may. And one more evening class, an arati in the evening, and then we'll have dinner. So we've provided all the meals and snacks in order to help you conserve your energy and your time so that you can be here and be focused on the teaching. And one more satsang late at night. So Swamiji has packed our schedule, which is really wonderful, which is what we wanted. And on the final day, we'll be ending a little bit early than planned because Swamini needs to catch a plane. So we will have an early class at 8:30 to 9:45 after meditation, and then we will finish around 10 to 11:15. I'm sure we'll have some leftover food if anyone wants to stay for a lunch or snack, and then we'll clean up the house and leave. Have I covered everything? Is there anything else you would like me to say?
Whatever you want to say.
Okay. Well, I'm very, very excited that we are starting. So I hope that all of you and I feel like get the same, I think, joy that I felt in previous retreats. Sometimes it's mixed. And I guess I wanted to say too that I usually plan for a couple days after the retreat to wind down. Sometimes there's a big emotional letdown, and whatever you're feeling is perfectly fine. And to know that that's okay, that you're not doing anything wrong or feeling anything wrong. That sometimes being immersed in the knowledge very intensely kind of turns things up, and that's all right. But through it all, I think there is a greater opening to this knowledge. That is why we're all here, and the greatest blessing. And I'm very glad we were able to do puja before this, so that may we all be blessed with gaining the knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Shin Shin. The prayer that I chanted, that was chanted at the Dakshinamurti shrine, in the form of a sankalpa just before we came here, is from the Taittiriya Upanishad. And it has a special, pertinence, relevance for us who are in the process of study. It asks Bhagavan for the ability for the students to come prepared. May the students come prepared. May the students have Shama, have Dhamma. What are Shama and Dhamma? 6 eatables. No?
Restraint of disturbance within and restraint of striking without, so to speak.
Yes. So restraint of striking without, dama, and resolution of the feelings that lead one to strike without, shama. Yeah. So shama, dama, may we have ready-made students, ready-made with shama and dama. This is the prayer. What a concept! You don't have to come here and get shama and dama. It's like, let it already be there, Let this shama and dama be there in the student wanna be. Because, there are students wanna be, but then, wanna be doesn't happen. Why? Because preparation is not there. And preparation is 9/10 of the knowledge. 1/10 is the knowledge. And most of the time in the Upanishads, we see that the focus is on preparation in this one too. There is a great deal of focus. Yes, please come. There is a great deal of focus on preparation. So the preparation is 9/10 of the knowledge. And so here we are praying, please hand the gentleman the new schedule. Here we are praying for that everybody who comes to this retreat comes prepared. And the preparation is an inside job. Yes, some preparation is needed. You have to lock the house, you have to leave the house, you have to plan for these 3 days, that's different. But here the prayer is talking about an internal preparation. The preparation within. So amayantu, vimayantu, may they gain this knowledge. Shamayantu, damayantu, pramayantu. Who? Brahmacharinaha. And then let this not be an expectation that keeps hanging. There's a hanging expectation. An unfulfilled hanging expectation. And this is dangerous on part of the student and the teacher. So immediately you say swaha. Swaha means you let go of this. There is an expectation, but then I have let it go at the feet of the Lord. Or if one does a particular kind of a fire ritual after Brahmacharya Diksha called Samidhadanam, and that time you offer it into the fire. You offer the wish. The wish itself is offered, because if the wish is not offered, then you have a hanging wish. It's a hangover. And then you cannot, you're constantly, thinking. I asked for Shama, where is it? I asked for Tamasu. It is Swaha means you let it go immediately. As soon as you ask for it, you say Namaha. Swaha and Namaha are kind of synonyms, because we are immediately saying Tathastu, whatever, may it be, however it is. And so, then we also ask for, what is that? Fame. Not fame in the sense of, every student should be able to Google themselves and then immediately you get Vedantin at the next to so and so Vedantin, it comes immediately. Chandogya comes up, or whatever you've studied comes up. Not fame in that sense. But this knowledge, as we will see in this very text, it's not something that can be kept a secret. Ironically, it is both the secret of secrets and something that cannot be hidden. It cannot be hidden because the Atma is never hidden. It is you. It is the light that shows everything else. It lights up everything else. How can itself be hidden? And yet it's the secret of secrets, because for want of a means of knowledge, for want of pramana, it is hidden. It is, in other words, we have to be very familiar with the Vedantin's lingo. What is that? It is as though hidden. Yeah. If you want, after this retreat, if you want to impress your friends and, people like that, you have to have a few things. Rope snake, as though, mithya. You just have a few things like that. And then everybody will be happy. So therefore, we ask for, fame. And what kind of fame? Like, may this knowledge blaze through the community. This is what we are asking for. because so many people who are in this room suddenly found their way to this abode, correct? Yeah. I mean, if we did a little survey, when did you drive here the first time? How did you know? Oh, the stories will be similar, but yet different. Each one will have their own story, but each one will say, somehow I just ended up here. Somebody told me to come here, and I heard there was something happening. Everybody will have their own story, correct? And so that is the power of this prayer. So the prayer, it makes it so that the knowledge is there, is shining. But at the same time, we are not Jehovah's Witnesses. We don't go knocking on the door with a schedule and say, you have to come to this retreat, otherwise something bad will happen to your whole family. We don't do that, because it is only for the asking, it is only for the asking. So therefore, this Shreyas, this knowledge, and the fruit of this knowledge, which is talking about and understanding the truth of oneself, it is for the asking alone. And so may we learn to ask the correct questions. May we learn to ask for it in the right way. Because if we don't ask for it in the right way, it gets sublated into something else. It gets sublated into a desire for whatever, this, that and the other. It gets diluted, it gets sublated. Because if nivritti is not chosen, pravritti is the default. What is pravritti? That which is obvious. The approaching, is what is there. But behind every pravritti, what is hiding is nivritti. That's what it is. So nivritti means letting go, really. And so the desires, all the desires, behind every desire is the search for not being and not obtaining in oneself a permanently wanting person, a wanting persona. The persona is gone and the person is discovered, the Purusha is discovered. And so the prayer that we had at the other shrine was for studenthood. Now what is studenthood? That which makes me into someone who is worthy of this teaching, who is able to assimilate this teaching, who wants this knowledge, rather than an accidental tourist. Somebody wrote a book, Accidental Tourist. Who was that? I don't know, but somebody wrote a book. And so one cannot be an accidental tourist of this knowledge. One can, but it doesn't pay off. You get to see the sights, you hear some Upanishadic stories, you learn something, you're happy, and then what? And then you go on to another thing. And this is a loss, really, because here we have treated the infinite as finite, as yet one more thing to go after. And so to prevent all this mantra that we chanted, a very ancient mantra, always chanted at the beginning of the study. And we have chanted this in the beginning of the 1 month course also. When was the last one? 2013. 1 month course we had that. You remember? Yeah. So, so we chanted this. So very powerful mantra, even if you don't know the meaning, and if you listen to the chanting, it blesses you. It blesses all of us. And it blesses both the student and the teacher to attain great things together. And attaining great things together has nothing to do with either fame, money, or any of the things that we normally think of in the samsaric world. Attaining great things together here just means enjoying the togetherness and the clarity, enjoying together the clarity of the knowledge. That is the height, really. So that is Shreyas, that is the height. And so this mantra is pertinent also for another reason that we chanted, because the text that we are going to embark upon, there is a lot to be said about studenthood. And it's very humbling when we read the story of Indra and how long he took to discover the studenthood in himself. It was 101, celestial years. Yeah. That's a long time. That's a really long time. I'm not trying to put you off from coming in the morning, okay? Let me just say this first of all. Yeah. So, 101 hour years itself is, is a daunting time, correct? Even though time flies, but to think of 101 years to just prepare for this knowledge, that's a very big recipe. It's like so much for the preparation, oh my God, But then you think about 101 Brahmaji years. Yuga Sahasram, by the time, it says in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita that by the time Brahmaji woke up, stretched himself and asked for the paper, of course he created the Jagat, he should know what is happening. He had a ritual to read the paper and he said, Saraswati, where is my coffee? And by the time he did all that, one yuga is, 1,000 yugas have gone here in the mortal, in the hemisphere of the mortal, in the mortal sphere. 1,000 yugas. And how much is one yuga? It's 436 plus double that, plus triple that, plus quadruple that is one yuga. One, what is that? One cycle of 4 yugas. So you can imagine 101 of those years Indra took to be ready for this knowledge. And even though that appears very daunting, it is not, because we see that, a lot of things are done side by side now. The teaching is happening side by side along with the preparation. This is a change from what we see in the Upanishads. In the Upanishads, the student already goes completely ready. Whether you see, Indra is an exception here. He's more like us. So that's why we picked this one to study. We are safe. We feel safe here. Okay. If Indra himself took 101 celestial years, what about, I can take many lifetimes. No problem. A relaxed pursuit is what we need. But in the other Upanishads, it's very, very daunting. Like, look at baby Nachiketa. He's hardly cut his milk teeth and he goes to Lord Yama, asks all these highfalutin questions. It's a big major put-off. You just feel like, okay, this is a know-it-all little guy. You can't identify with Nachiketa. You cannot. You can identify with Arjuna because he keeps asking questions. Some of them, are questions that you think you have but you're afraid to ask. But when Arjuna asks you, oh, thank God he has asked this question. I feel good now. But this one, what is that? Nachiketa is impossible. Impossibly prepared. And then you have Nachiketa, and then there is another, Nachiketa's friend, also appearing in the Chandogya Upanishad, Satyakama, another young boy. And he comes on more than 2-3 occasions in the Chandogya Upanishad. In the first instance, we hear him having a dialogue with his mother, Jabala. And he says to her, I think I'm going to Gurukulam to study. I need to know my lineage. She was a single mother. Who is my father? Oh, mother, because they'll ask the name of my mother and father, and who am I going to say? And she's very honest. She says, I was working in so many houses as a maid servant, and I don't know who your father is, but you know me. My name is Jabala, and you can call yourself Satyakama Jabala. The first instance in history where, the boy is asked to take the name of his mother. And they have this, what is equivalent to the open house. Now, when you have when you go to the university or whatever it is, so in the Gurukula, everybody is there, their parents are there, everybody is there, and all the children are there, and the teacher says, who are you? Why do you want to study? What is your lineage? And Satyakama repeats everything that his mother says without any embarrassment. And the teacher is thrilled. The teacher, embraces him and says, if you are not deserving to study this, I don't know who is. You are the true definition of Brahmana is someone who's truth speaking, and you are that. And again, it's very difficult to identify with this Satyakama, because who is going to be like this? And then in another incident, Satyakama goes, to study and then is given a cow. This frequently happens, You go to study, but then you go to the teacher and you have all these ideas. I'll sit at the feet of the teacher and I will study Brahma Vidya and I'll learn Sanskrit and a few things and I'll just become, I'll have self-knowledge and I will become quote-unquote enlightened. These are the feelings. And then what happens? Keys are given. Oh, the master keys of this knowledge? No. The key to what? The cow stable. Yes. Goshala. Cow, cow stable. That's why it's called stable. Because staying there makes the mind stable. That's why it is called stable. And, which ho gaya? Something happened, it went to sleep. Okay, now it came back. I have to keep doing
I
this.
turned those pictures off, I thought.
Okay, next time we'll see again. But it has come back, so that's good. So then this is what the whole thing is. And we have, he's given, here he's not given the cow stable keys, he's given one cow. Look after this. And then the teacher says, come back after this cow has become, some crazy number, 400. And he says, one cow, 400. At least is it pregnant? No. I'm making that part up. But anyhow, so... No, you have to do everything. You have to take it, you have to care for it, and you have to make it have babies, and its babies should have babies, and its babies should have babies. And when it is 400, you come back to me. And he just gets so despondent. He just sits down right there. And then he hears a growl, a kind of a mix between a growl and a groan. And then he sees that there is a mountain lion on its side with a thorn in its paw, in its foot. And the mountain lion says, come here, you look like a nice boy. What's your name? Satyakama. Oh, come here and help me. No, but I really want to study about Brahman. I don't want to help anybody and I have this cow too. Of course, the mountain lion makes the note. Where is the cow? Oh, okay, good. So, he says, come over here and help me. I mean, who is going to remove the thorn from this lion? But Satyakama does. He says, okay. He's going to tell me about his desire for the knowledge is so much that he even endangers himself. And he takes the thorn from the paw. And, this was Satya Yuga, I suppose. And the animals kept their promise. And he teaches him about Brahman. What is that? Mountain lion in the forest teaches him about Brahman and says, I know a little bit, I'll teach you a little bit. And so like this he goes, and then a heron has got a fish bone stuck in its throat, and he removes that, he becomes like a Samaritan. And then by the time he meets his teacher, his teacher appears in front of him. And he feels very guilty because the cow is nowhere there. There is no cow. Remember the mountain lion. Do I need to say anything? So, and he says, but I'm not ready. The cow is not 400. And the teacher says, you are ready. You are ready. And your face is shining with knowledge. And you please tell me what you know. And Satyakama says, no, you please tell me what you know. And that's how the teaching, happens. But these are all very difficult to relate to. Shvetaketu, again also a protagonist in the Chandogya Upanishad, you can relate to him a little bit. Because, he's come back from the university full of pride. Anujana mani. Anujana means the ability to chant and remember the chant with all the swaras without any, problems. Mani means he was very proud of this fact, that I'm the greatest orator. So you can relate a little bit, everybody feels like that. But then after a while, he only needs 9 classes. That's all. In this retreat itself here. So 9 classes. And so till he gets the knowledge, he says, Bhuya eva bhagavan vijñāpayatu, please tell me this, 9 times. And after that he says, bye-bye, finished. So these are all what the Upanishad, what Adi Shankara in his commentary calls Uttama Adhikarinaha. Uttama means what? Very exalted. Uttamaha, Udaraha, Sarva evate, they are all very exalted type of adhikaris. They have done their homework in previous lives, or if they are mythical characters, it doesn't matter to us because they are there to exemplify this concept of Uttama Adhikari. Correct? Yeah. Which is an ideal type, really speaking. Which is a rare phenomenon. And then it is very difficult to identify. Then on the other side of the continuum, we have what is called Manda Adhikari. Manda means what? Slow, dull. Yeah, not Buddha, Buddhu. Yeah, just one vowel but big difference. Buddhu means not knowing anything in Hindi. Buddha means the enlightened one. So we have Manda Adhikari. And, there are examples of that also, but really speaking, Manda Adhikari is also an ideal type. Doesn't exist. We should be like Nachiketa. One thing to learn from Nachiketa is Bahunamemi Prathamaha, Bahunamemi Madhyamaha. Means never put oneself down. Never say to oneself. One must never say to oneself, I am a dull adhikari, I am slow, I am the worst in the whole room, I am an idiot, I don't even know how to spell Shama and Dama, forget having them, I'll never learn. That is not helpful, So Nachiketa, when he is sent to Lord Yama, he is wondering, it's a lot of monologue and self-talk, and in that he says, well, what would Yama want from me? Among a number of people, I may come second. He's not so proud to say, I am best and I'm better than everybody else. And among certain other people, I may come first, I may be better than them, but some people may be better than me. Meaning, I'm either first or second, I'm never last. Very nice. If one is last, one is lost. That is what it is. So, Manda Adhikari, we need not even discuss. So, what is in the middle? Madhyama Adhikari, which is where in this category we all fall, So Madhyama Adhikari, the one that has a tivra ichcha, a great desire to learn, and along with the great desire to learn, there are great obstacles as well. Both are great. The person is great, the desire to learn is great, the obstacles are also quite a few obstacles one has to overcome. Which is why the repeated Shravanam is important. The repeated Shravanam is like a stone in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which is lashed by waves all the time. First, you go see it, it's a jagged stone, very, rough edges, pokey looking stone. Then after 20 years you go and look at it, it is all smoothed out. It has become a Shiva Linga. How did that happen? The waves repeatedly crashing. One wave cannot do anything. Two waves cannot do anything. Even 1 week of waves cannot do anything. But it is this repeated and relentless crashing, resounding waves have made this stone into an object of worship, really, have made this quote-unquote stone into signifying that which is the most worshipful one. And even so, this body-mind-sense complex, with this upadhi with which we are, with which we have been gifted, has a lot of ragged, jagged edges, pains, fears, sorrow, raga, dvesha, and all kinds of notions. The not I replacing the I not being owned up for what it is, so on and so forth. These become the ragged edges of the personality. And the Shravanam and the teaching is like a wave. One subjects to it. One stands right in the middle and subjects to it. One is bathed in the Shravanam and the ragged edges go away. The personality drops, leaving the person within, discovering the person within as Bhagavan, as that limitless whole which one is already seeking. So the personality drops, revealing the person. This is what it is. And so the Guru is always equated to a sculptor. when you see a stone, a block of stone, you just see a block of stone. When the sculptor sees the stone, the sculptor is already seeing Bhagavan Krishna there. And so, the sculptor, is not carving Krishna. He's chiseling out the non-Krishna portions are dropping. This one goes away, this one is sandpapered down here, this one is rubbed, this one is chiseled away, that one is tapped off, this one is fallen off. It's the non-Krishna, 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 non-Krishna. And if we were Buddhists, we would keep going, non-Krishna, until we reach nothingness. But we ain't Buddhists. So, when a sufficient amount of non-Krishna drops, when there is no more non-Krishna to drop, what is revealed is Krishna alone. So that is basically what this teaching is. What the Shravanam does is removes the anatma, non-atma, anatma, anatma, and anatma goes, atma is, which was as though covered by the ignorance. The covering is removed. And so therefore, the studenthood is very important. And the studenthood is very beautifully illustrated here. And we can read this on a number of levels. And, in fact, the first line itself, Sarlanandaji, Swaminiji reminded me that Pujya Swamiji had taken that first line. Just that, but that is Pujya Swamiji. One line he can take and, have a week's worth of talks. And so that line itself is a lot. But what we are going to do, we are going to look at that Prajapati's declaration, which is the first portion of that. But we are also going to look to all the things that are needed to get to this declaration, to understanding and enjoying the declarations, what may be behind it. So it's all about the chiseling. So these 4 days allow the chiseling to happen. Yeah. So just keep listening. The Shravanam, the teaching is like this tap, 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 tap sounds. Sometimes if you go to South India, there is a street of sculptors. And each one is tap, tap, tap at different rhythms. So you hear all this tap, 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 tap. And so too in the class, that is what is happening. Each one is absorbing the knowledge in their own way, at their own pace, in their own manner, and it is speaking to them. Tap, 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 here a tap, there a tap, everywhere, tap, 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 tap. That is what is happening. So a lot of things are being shed. That's why I always say it should be called Upanishad, not Upanishad. Because it makes one shed. The word shad and shed are actually synonymous. Shadl, but it becomes shad. Shad means, it has 3 meanings. One is avasadayati. Avasadayati means destroys. It destroys. And then unmulayati, it destroys without a trace, uproots, destroys by uprooting, second meaning. And the third meaning is what? Gamayati, Brahma Gamayati, leads you to the truth of yourself. So what does it destroy? Self-ignorance. Unlike a weed, you destroy the weed, you think you destroy the weed, and then what happens? It is there. It says hello again after 2 months. It says it's stronger than before. It is what is immune to the whatever you sprayed on it. It has become immune to it. Here we have in Eugene in Eugene people will cut the lawn but let the weeds grow. This is how we are, and so this is kind of a this metaphor will confuse rather than illuminate. But there are but I think you understand what I am trying to say is that this one is it uproots completely that self-ignorance. Self-ignorance is not the problem, really speaking, because the cat, the dog, they are all self-ignorance. They all have self-ignorance. Every sentient being has self-ignorance until and unless it is, removed. Self-ignorance is the capital. It is there. But unlike the dog and the cat, we are not programmed. And because we are not programmed, the self-ignorance causes problems. How? Because if I don't know myself, I know myself thoda, a little bit I know I am. Don't ask the next question, who are you, what are you? Because the answer that will come is idiot. That's what that will come. Because I believe in it, I have been told this so many times, I'm good for nothing, I'm an idiot, that's what will come. So, the self-ignorance is not the problem. Self-ignorance in Sanskrit is called agrahanam, not knowing the truth of myself, which every dog, cat is subject to. And then we have, the other thing, the spin-off, the brood of self-ignorance, which is a problem in human beings, which is in Sanskrit, the technical term used is anyatha grahanam. Agrahanam, not knowing, anyatha. Anyatha means what? Knowing something other than what is. Anyatha grahanam. Grasping myself to be who I am not. This is the problem. Not knowing who I am leads me to taking myself to be what I am not. Body dharma, 5 foot so many inches tall, 6 foot so many inches tall. Mind dharma, restless. Pranic dharma, fearful, hungry, angry, all these things. So these are the dharma here means attributes. So all the attributes of the body, mind, sense complex and, and other things that I have come to believe are taken to be myself. The infinite is as though covered, eclipsed as though by the finite notions and beliefs, which the Upanishad makes one shed. The knowledge is such. And so the word shad itself talks about shedding and repatriating one with the self that is free of regret, free of pain, free of sorrow, free of fear, free of all kinds of problems. Then the word upa and ni are prefixes. Like pre in the word prefix is a prefix. See? Prefix, right? Yeah. So like that, upa and ni are prefixes. Ni means nishchagena, definitely. And it is a promise by the Upanishad that definitely this will happen. This destruction of the knowledge ignorance will happen, which causes problems. And how? Upa, samipe, that which is, by knowing that, by the definite knowledge of that which is nearest to me. And what is nearest to me? Ahameva, myself. So by revealing the self, the non-self drops away. And the penchant for holding on to the non-self also drops away. And that is what the word Upanishad is. Upanishad is as Upanishad does. That is what it does. That is what it is. Because it has a certain agent, it has a certain agency. The agent of Shad, the agent of the destruction is called Upanishad. Because there is a silent suffix called quip, which, does its job and goes away. What does it do? It equips, that's why it's called quip. It equips the word Upanishad with the agent of destruction, of self-ignorance. It gives it that status, the suffix. And then that's why it's called quip. And then, so this Upanishad is coming at the end of the Vedas. After one has, gone through the forest of the first portion of the Veda, which is a treatise in wish fulfillment. It's a huge treatise in wish fulfillment. All the desires under the sun, under the moon, under the rain, whatever desires one has, is all talked about there. I don't want this, but I want this for my family, tathastu. I'm doing well, but I don't like the neighbor who's not doing so, who's doing better than me. Can we do something? Can we off him, and make it seem like an accident, tathastu? All this is there, Can we, I'm not a violent person by nature, but can he just, fall sick and lose his job? Tathastu. All kind of spells are there. In fact, they are called spells because they hold you in thrall. One is never ready to graduate from the first portion of the Veda. It's like permanently in a pen, in a play pen. This is what it is. You're not able to graduate. But for the few discerning ones, like the people in this room, the question, what next? Is this all that life has to offer? Presents itself. And that is what brings us to the Upanishad. Otherwise, nobody even hears about the Upanishad. I tell you, I was raised in this tradition and born in the tradition. And I'm sure, Malati will also, and maybe Vasanti also will agree with me. Nobody knew Upanishad, They knew all the mantras from the first portion of the Vedas. Yes, you should worship this way, worship that way. And I was always asking, what is this we are doing? What are we going to, what's this all for? No, nothing else is there. This is what you're supposed to do because the grandmother did this, the grandfather did this, the great-grandfather did this, the great-grandmother did this. This is how it is done. What's wrong with you? You are strange. This is, so this is something which is not mainstream. This is something which one really has to ask for, look for, and then it speaks. And does it speak on its own? No. It doesn't speak on its own. That's why we don't spend time reading it. It needs a microphone. That's what. It needs an amplifier. Yeah. And that's what the teacher is. So the teacher is simply a microphone. Just amplifies whatever is there. And that's why there is no distortion. And the gain, what is that? Pun intended, because in microphone language they always talk of gain. Here, the gain is infinite. Yeah. And that's what the gain is. And so therefore, it doesn't come on its own, because even though the Upanishad is legible, translated, you can read it. Sometimes all the time, one's own infrastructure comes in the way of understanding. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam. No, class is not ended. I'm just illustrating it. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam. That is whole, this is whole, you are whole, Next. And that's why one person came to me and said, I have studied Kathopanishad. I said, oh, good for you. I have read Kenopanishad. Good for you. I have read Chandogya Upanishad. I have read Ishavasya Upanishad. I have read all the Upanishads. I have read 108 Upanishads, the later ones, the former ones, the middle ones, I have read the sister of the Upanishad, the brother of the Upanishad. What should I do next? That question never arises if one has studied with a teacher. That is why the teacher, suddenly comes to prominence because of this. Otherwise, the teacher is a very ordinary person. Yeah, the teacher is a very ordinary person. What makes the teacher extraordinary is his teacher, her teacher, his teacher, her teacher, the lineage. That's what is the beauty of this. And because of that, because of the fact that the truth of the teachings, is spoken by the entire lineage, the teacher carries the entire lineage, it becomes a very, exalted and worshipful pursuit. Becomes a very beautiful pursuit. And this is really the correct way to learn. In fact, it's the only way to learn. How else are you going to get this? And so therefore, here also in this Chandogya Upanishad, we will see the students going to the teacher. And we are very fortunate to have this Upanishad, because in certain Upanishads, we know that there are students and we know that there are teachers. There is a teacher, but their names we don't know. Like in the Taittiriya Upanishad, somebody is talking to somebody. We know it's a dialogue. How do we know it's a dialogue? Because, there is a question. Aho vidvan amun loka pretya kaschana gacchati. That pluta, that elongated swara is for a question. Prashnarthe. So once a knowledgeable person of self-wisdom departs, where do they go? The student is asking the question. Therefore we see that the silent teacher and the silent student are there. They are not named, but they are there. But in the Kathopanishad, we can enjoy the Yama Nachiketa dialogue because we see Nachiketa's personality. We also get a lot about Yama's personality. He's a little garrulous. Nachiketa has to keep bringing him back. Okay, enough. Teach me this now. And he just kind of goes on his own thing. He also has regrets. He says, I wish I hadn't asked for this Yamya Padam. I wish I had not asked for this position of Yama. Look at you, you are so much more fortunate than me. May every teacher have a student like you. He's a wonderful teacher and very honest. We get to know this. And here too we are very blessed because we get to know something about the students. And we get to know something about the teacher too. Prajapati is not an ordinary teacher. Prajapati is the name of Brahmaji. Prajanam Pita. That is what it is. So it's Brahmaji himself teaching. And Brahmaji, as you know, has featured as the teacher in at least 2 other Upanishads that we have studied. Quiz time. Which are they? Which we have studied? Have we studied Brihadaranyaka Upanishad? No. Then, which we have studied? Which we are studying? Okay, big hint.
Chandogya. Which we are studying?
Mundaka. Yes. Mundaka, it has come from Brahmaji. Although, Angiras is the teacher, but Brahma Devanam Prathamas Sambhuva. Vishvasya Karta Bhuvanasya Bhokta, all the Bhuvanasya Gopta, all these things. So Brahma Vidyam, he told his son, and then his son told his son like that, it is there. And where else? Kaivalya Upanishad. Kaivalya Upanishad also, we have Ashvalayana going to Pitamaha. Pitamaha means great granddaddy of the universe, which is Brahmaji. So we know that we are in the hands of the right teacher here, because he has already taught at least 2 other Upanishads. So he must know, and so he will not mislead. Prajapati is very, very famous teacher of the Upanishads, in the Upanishads themselves, and very, very beautifully, it's very elegant. This particular section is very elegant. And somehow for the Thanksgiving retreats, somehow Chandogya only keeps coming. This time I had made a sankalpa, an intention, that we are not going to do Chandogya, I'll do something from Brihadaranyaka. And then, it was, it was still, I think few months ago it was not cold and the window was open. And I went and came back and the pages had turned to this particular section. This is how it happened. So I said, okay, Bhagavan, wants this. So Chandogya is beautiful. It's one of the big Upanishads. Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya are huge. And, Chandogya has a lot of upasanas in the beginning. Upasanas means meditations to calm down the mind and steady the mind. And the teaching is in the 6th, 7th and 8th chapters. The Brihadaranyaka is the opposite. The teaching is in the first few chapters and then the upasana is in the latter chapters. Very, very interesting. And then, as you know, the Vedas are 4 in number. What are they? Rik, Sama, Atharva and Yajus. Yajus and Atharva. So these are the 4 Vedas. And, actually there was just one Veda. But Lord Vyasa, who who is the author of Mahabharata and the Puranas, etc. Lord Vyasa Bhagavan Vyasa divided the Vedas, into prose, poetry, Vedanta, everything, and gave it to families to keep. This way it was not destroyed. From Alexander, not so great, to not so great Britain, we have had so many colonizers, and none of them made off with this knowledge. None of them made off, because it was held by the people. The dharma was held by the dharmi. Even today. That's why it is difficult to obliterate these teachings, because unless you just off everybody on the universe, you cannot hurt this knowledge. This is very, Bhagavan Vyasa's, one of his great contributions was to protect this knowledge. And he protected it by making the 1 into 4 and giving it to families to keep. And even now in India, people will say, Yajush Shakhadhyayi, Rik Shakhadhyayi. I'm a student of the Rig Veda, and you tell the fellow, at least tell one mantra, they will not know, but they will proudly say, I am a student of the Rig Veda, because this is how it is carried in families. And so each Veda has its own mantra, Shanti mantra, because the obstacles are many. And so we will be learning the Shanti mantra. We have chanted this before, those who have taken the Thanksgiving retreats before, because one time we did chapter 6, one time we did chapter 7, now it is time for excerpts from chapter 8. So we will start with the Shanti mantra. We will chant that along with Sahana Bhavatu every day. And do you all have the handout? Yeah. Some new people, I think you both don't have the new schedule. Don't follow that schedule. Follow this. So please hand this to them. James and Peter got that, right? New schedule? Yeah. Now the other one, you please take it out, because it will get mixed up. And then this is what will happen. So we'll learn the mantra today, and I will explain it afterwards. Om Apyayantu
Om Apyayantu
Mamangani Vakpranaha Chakshushrotram. What is the next one? I don't have one. Yeah, Atho Balam. Indriyani cha sarvani. Not sarvani, sarvani. Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam. Maham Brahma Nirakaryam. Mama Brahma Nirakarot. Anirakaranamastu. Anirakaranam me astu. Tadatmani nirate. Ya upanishatsu dharmaha. Te mayi santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. It is, what is today? Yeah. So, we are out of time now, so I will not explain it today. Tomorrow morning class, we will begin with this explanation and then go forward. Did you want to add anything? Would you like to add anything? Huh?
No, very complete. Thank you.
Okay. And are there any questions? Either logistic questions or anything questions from what we have heard today? Anything at all? Yes.
The fourth Veda, the Rig, the Sama, the Artha.
Not Artha, Atharva.
Atharva.
Yeah. And Yajus.
Yajus?
Yes. Yajus, Yajus. And when in Sandhi it becomes Yajurveda. Yes. Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda and Rig Veda. Anything else? Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. You can keep your handouts here itself. You can write your names on it, you can write on it, you can take it home afterwards, but I recommend you keep it here because you may forget it at home. So you can just collect it and keep it there in the shelf or something. And if you take it, you can please remember to bring it back with you.